Welcome to my channel, Crochet for Baby. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful little romper for baby girls between 3 and 6 months old. It's super easy to make. I'd say that it's ideal for beginners, so I hope you like it. Now, the one we're going to make in the tutorial, like I said, it's for 3 to 6 months, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger from a newborn size and up to 12 months. Down here in the information box below, I'll go ahead and leave you some information on how you can easily make it smaller or bigger, so be sure to check that out. And as always, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box below. Thank you so much for your support. Now, to make this little romper, this is the yarn that I used. It's DK weight yarn, but you can use any number 3 yarn or a ply. Now, if you're making this for the summertime, I recommend that you use cotton yarn in the same weight. I used a total of 95 grams, 20 grams in white and about 75 grams in pink. You will need less or more depending on the size that you're making, so please keep that in mind. Okay, let's get started, but don't forget to subscribe, activate the notifications bell to all notifications so that YouTube can recommend my videos. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 3.5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this DK weight yarn. You can also use number 3 yarn or a ply. At the beginning of the video, I showed you the yarn that I'm using, and I told you how much yarn we're going to need for the size that we're making, which is for 3 to 6 months. Now, to begin, I have 53 chains. This chain here, without stretching or anything, is measuring about 11 inches, which is about 28 centimeters. Now, if your chain is off by 1 or 2 centimeters, it's okay. Just continue. So here, to begin with the first row, into the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, into this second chain here, insert your hook and make a single crochet. Into the next chain, make a single crochet into the next, and so on. For this first row, this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to make 1 single crochet on each chain. At the end of this first row, I'm going to have 52 single crochets. Continue, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 52 single crochets. Now for the second row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now these 2 chains from here on do not count. They're just here so that when we finish the yoke, this part here is nice and straight. Now to begin the second row, I'm going to make 3 double crochets, and then into the 4th single crochet, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. So let me show you. Beginning on top of the first single crochet, make a double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3. Into the next, make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. This is all you're going to do for the rest of this second row. You're going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and into the next 2 double crochets. Now continue like this to the end of this second row. I will meet you there to show you what we need to do next. I finished the second row. Here at the end, I finished by making these last 4 double crochets. At the end of this second row, I have 64 double crochets. Now for the third row, chain 2 and turn. Now in this row, I'm going to make 4 double crochets, then into the next, I'm going to make 2. Let me show you. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now into the next, make 2 double crochets. And this is how you're going to continue for the rest of this third row. You're going to make 4 double crochets and into the next 2. 4, 2, 4, 2 until you finish this third row. Continue. I'll meet you at the end. I finished the third row. At the end of this third row, I have 76 double crochets. Now for the fourth row, chain 2 and turn. Now in this row, I'm going to make 5 double crochets, then 2. Let me show you. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, and into the next 2. And this is how you're going to continue for the rest of this 4th row. You're going to make 5 double crochets, then 2, 5, 2, 5, 2 until you finish this 4th row. At the end of this 4th row, you're going to have 88 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of this row. I finished the 4th row. At the end of this 4th row, I have 88 double crochets. Now for the 5th row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now in this 5th row, we're going to repeat the same thing we did in the 2nd row. I'm going to make 3 double crochets, then 2, 3, 2, 3, 2 until I finish the row. So let me show you. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3. Now into the next, make 2 double crochets. One more time. Make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and into the next 2 double crochets. This is how you're going to continue for the rest of this 5th row. So continue making 3 double crochets, then 2, 3, 2 to the end of this 5th row. I'll meet you there to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this 5th row. Up to here I have 100 double crochets. I still have 8 double crochets left. Now here at the end, we're going to finish this row by making 1 double crochet on each one of these double crochets, so that at the end of this 5th row I have a total of 108 double crochets. Now I want to make sure that this last row here is in multiples of 3. So 108 divides into 3. There. So at the end of this 5th row, I have 108 double crochets. Now for the 6th row, chain 3 and turn. Now in this row, what I'm going to do are V-stitches. So our first V-stitch is going to go into the 3rd double crochet, counting from the beginning. 1, 2, 3 into this 3rd double crochet, make a V-stitch. So make a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, skip 1, 2 and into the 3rd, make a V-stitch. Skip 1, 2 and into the 3rd, again a V-stitch. This is how we're going to continue for this 6th row. We're just going to make these V-stitches. Continue, finish this 6th row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this 6th row. Now here at the end, I'm going to skip these next 2 double crochets, and on top of the last one here, make a double crochet. Now cut your yarn and pass your yarn through this last loop, and this row here is done. I have a total of 35 V-stitches at the end of this 6th row. Now if you notice, I've changed yarn color. The yoke that you were watching was a little dress that I did. This one here, it's the Annie dress pattern. I'll go ahead and leave the link to this little dress down here in the information box. The yoke is done exactly in the same way. So now for the 6th row, here at the end, I cut my yarn like I said, so we're going to turn. Insert your hook on top of the first double crochet, and for the 7th row I'm going to change yarn color. I'm going to use this white yarn here. It's DK weight also. So here, bring this loop through and chain 3. Now we have the first V-stitch. Into this first double crochet of this V-stitch, make a front post double crochet. Inside the chain 2 space of this V-stitch, make a fan. The fan is going to consist of 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets. And now make a front post double crochet into the 2nd double crochet of this V-stitch. And this is how we're going to work each one of the V-stitch. Again, we have the 2nd V-stitch, make a front post double crochet, make a fan inside the chain 2 space, and a front post double crochet. Now continue like this to the end of this 7th row. I'll meet you there to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of the 7th row. I have a total of 35 fans. Now to finish, go into the second chain here at the end and make a double crochet. Now for row 8, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a single crochet. Now chain 3. Inside the chain space of this first fan, make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, chain 3. In the middle between the fans, right here, make a slip stitch. Again, chain 3 into the chain space of the next fan, a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, chain 3. In the middle of the fans, a slip stitch. And this is how we're going to continue for the rest of this 8th row. Chain 3 into the chain space of the next fan, a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, 3 chains, in the middle of the fans, slip stitch. And this is how you're going to continue for the rest of this row. Continue, I'll meet you at the end. I finished making this 8th row. Now here at the end, I did my last 3 chains, and into the second chain here at the end, I made a single crochet. I cut my yarn and passed my yarn through that last loop, and the yoke is done, and this is how it looks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to separate the sleeves. We have a total of 35 of these fans. So for each one of the front panels, we're going to have 4 fans, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then place a stitch marker between the 4th and the 5th. For the sleeves, we're going to have 9 fans, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Place a stitch marker between the 8th and the 9th fan. Now for the back side, which is going to be the front once we divide the sleeves, we're going to have 9 fans as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Place a stitch marker between the 8th and the 9th. Now for the second sleeve, same thing, 9 fans, and for the second front panel, 4 fans. Now to divide the sleeves, this is what we're going to do. So this is going to be the front and this is the inside. We're going to go back to row 5 here of the yoke. We have the row single crochet, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this row of double crochet, so the 5th row. And we're going to be working fans into the same stitches where we did the V stitches. So these stitches here, right in between these 2 double crochets. This is where we're going to be working our fan. So starting into the first double crochet of row 5, right here, make sure that you're on the correct side or the same side that I am. We're going to insert our hook from the bottom up like this. Grab a loop. I'm going to use this pink yarn here again. I'm going to chain 3 and right into the next V stitch. So skip 2 double crochets and into the 3rd one, which is where we have this V stitch. Right in the middle of this V stitch here, make a fan. Each one of the fans is going to consist of 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. Now jump to the next V stitch and then into the same stitch here where we did the V stitch, make your next fan. Now jump to the 3rd V stitch and make your 3rd fan. And jump to the 4th V stitch of the 5th row and make your 4th fan. There we have 4 fans, and these fans were worked into the row or into the 5th row here of double crochets and into the same stitch where we did the V stitches of row 6. So make sure that you have 4 of these fans. Now to separate the sleeves, I'm going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let me double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Now we're going to skip 9 fans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have our stitch marker. Go into this V-stitch here. So the next V-stitch after the stitch marker, and here make a fan. There. Now for the back side, you're going to make a total of 9 fans. So you're going to make your second one here. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to separate the second sleeve. I finished making these 9 fans for the back side. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. These 9 fans were worked into the same stitch where we did the V stitches in row 6. Now to divide the second sleeve, chain 11. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we're going to skip 9 fans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And into the next fan right below where we have the next V stitch, into the same stitch here, make your fan for the second front panel. There. Now continue and make the next 3 fans. We're going to make one here, here, and here. I'll meet you at the end of this first row. I'm here at the end of this first row. This is where we have divided the sleeves. I have a total of 4 fans here for this second front panel. Now to finish here, we're going to go into this row of double crochets. So row 5, and right there, insert your hook and make a double crochet here at the end. Now to finish this row, we're going to join out so that we can continue and work this pattern in the round. So go into the first double crochet, which are the 3 chains on top here of the 3rd chain, join with a slip stitch. Now this is how I finished the first row with a total of 17 fans. We have 4 fans for each one of the front panels. For the front here, this is going to be the front now. I have 9 fans plus 11 chains under each sleeve, so that's a total of 17 fans. Now for the second row, I'm going to chain 3, and right into this same stitch here, I'm going to make a double crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. Here I'm going to add an extra fan here on the back side. Now into each one of the chained 2 spaces of each one of these fans, you're going to make fans. So 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. And this is what you're going to do here for each one of the fans. So I'm going to work these 4 fans here until I come to the chains under the first sleeve. There, I have 5 fans. We have the center fan for the back side plus the 4, that's 5. Now we have the next 11 chains. We're going to skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th chain here, we're going to make a fan. Now skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th, make a fan. Now we have 3 chains left. We're going to skip these chains and right into the next fan, into the chain 2 space. We're going to work our fan now. So here under the sleeves, we have added 2 extra fans. There, and that's how it looks. Now continue and work 1 fan for each one of these fans here for the front, and then I'll meet you here to show you how we're going to work these chains under the second sleeve. I finished making these 9 fans here for the back side, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Then Under the sleeve, I did the same thing I showed you for the first sleeve. I skipped 3 chains, and into the 4th chain I did a fan, then I skipped 3 chains, and into the 4th again I did a fan, and here I'm going to skip these 3 chains and right into the chain 2 space of this first fan for the second front panel. I'm going to make a fan. And now I'm going to do the same thing for each one of the remaining fans for this second front panel. Now to finish, we're going to go here. We have the 3 chains right into the 3rd chain here to the side. We're going to join with a slip stitch, and here's the second row. At the end of the second row, you should have a total of 22 fans. Here's the first one that we did. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 fans at the end of the second row. Now from here on, we're just going to continue with these 22 fans. So for the 3rd row, here I'm going to work a slip stitch into the next double crochet and a slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Now chain 3, and into this chain 2 space make a double crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. Here's the first fan for this 3rd row. Now into each one of the chain 2 spaces, you're going to make fans in the exact same way that we did the fans here in the 2nd row. So continue all around. For this 3rd row, I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this 3rd row. I have 22 fans. Now to finish, we always go here to the beginning, into the 3rd chain here, make a slip stitch. And that's how you finish each row. Now from here on, this is the row that you're going to repeat, and we're always going to have 22 fans. So to begin each row, we make a slip stitch into the next double crochet and a slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Now chain 3, make a double crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets into this same chain 2 space. Then into each one of the fans, you make a fan. And this is all we're going to do for the rest here. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. So continue. I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished making the body. I did a total of 16 rows. From here up to here, there's 16 rows, and it's measuring from the top of the shoulder to the end of the last row. It's measuring about 32 centimeters, which is about 12.5 inches. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to separate the legs. This is where I finished. So for the center, we're going to have 1 fan for the back side and 1 fan for the front. So we're going to place a stitch marker into the next fan. So we have for each one of the legs, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 fans here for this leg, and then 1 fan here for the center for the front, and then we have the next fan, and into this fan I have a stitch marker. So from here up to here, I have 10 fans for the second leg. So 10, 10, 1 for the back, 1 for the front. So this is where I finished the last row, row 16. So now for the legs, this is the back side. So this would be the right side. So for this leg here, I am going to turn here, and I'm going to work this side first. So here to begin, into these next 2 double crochets, make a slip stitch. Into the chain 2 space here of this first fan for the first leg, make a slip stitch. Now chain 3. Now into this same space here of this first fan, make a double crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. Here's the first fan for this first row for the first leg. Now into the next fan, make a fan, and into each one of these 10 fans, we're going to do the same thing, a fan. So continue and make these 10 fans. I will meet you right here at the end of this first row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of the first row. For the first leg, I have 10 fans. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now for row 2, we're going to turn. Don't chain or anything, just turn. Beginning on top of this first double crochet, insert your hook and make a slip stitch on top of the second double crochet, and a slip stitch into the chain 2 space of this fan. Now chain 3, and into the same space make a double crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets, and into each one of the remaining fans make fans until you finish this second row. Continue. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I finished the second row. For this first leg I have 10 fans. Now for the third row we're going to turn. Don't chain or anything, just turn. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, insert your hook and make a slip stitch, into the second double crochet a slip stitch, and into the chain 2 space a slip stitch. Now chain 2, and into this same chain space here, this first fan, make 3 half double crochets. Including the 2 chains, I have 4 half double crochets. Now into each one of the fans you're going to make the same thing. You're going to make 4 half double crochets. So continue for this third row, just making 4 half double crochet into each one of the fans until you finish. I will meet you here at the end of this third row for the first leg. I finished this third row. In this row we did 4 half double crochets into each one of the fans. I have a total of 40 half double crochets, including the 2 chains here at the beginning. Now I cut my yarn and pass my yarn through the last loop at the end of the third row. For the fourth row I'm going to change to this white yarn, so I'm going to turn here. I'm going to go on top of the first half double crochet, grab a loop here, and chain 2. Now we have the next half double crochet. Into this one here, work a front post half double crochet. Now into the next back post half double crochet, into the next front post half double crochet. Now we have the next 4. Here is a front post, so we start with a back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, and so on. This is how we're going to continue for this fourth row, just making front post and back post half double crochets. Now make sure that you make these stitches nice and loose so that this part here is not too tight. So continue, finish the fourth row. I'm here at the end of this fourth row. This is where I did front post and back post half double crochets. Now to finish here, we're going to go into the second chain and make a half double crochet. And this is how I finish this fourth row with a total of 40 half double crochets. Now for the fifth row, chain 2 and turn. Now in this row we're going to work these stitches exactly how they are. We have the next stitch. This is a front post, so make a front post half double crochet. Into the next back post half double crochet, into the next front post half double crochet, and so on. Continue like this for this fifth row. I'll meet you at the end. I finished the fifth row. In this row we did front post and back post half double crochets. Now here at the end, into the second chain, I did my last half double crochet. At the end of this fifth row I have 40 half double crochets, and here at the end I cut my yarn and pass my yarn through this last loop. So this leg here is done, and this is how it looks. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing we did here for this side. We're going to repeat these 5 rows exactly in the same way. So I'm going to start you off here with the first row because I want to make sure that you get this side right. For the first leg we started here and we did the first row on the wrong side. So if I start here, it's going to be on the right side. So I'm going to go here to this fan. Here's the first one, and then here's the last one. So we're going to go right here. This is the front side of the little romper. So we're going to start right here. Insert your hook right here into this chain 2 space of this 10th fan. Now grab a loop here, bring it through, and chain 3 and make a double crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. So here's the first fan for the first row. Now into each one of the fans, you're going to work a fan until you finish this first row with 10 fans right here. Then you're going to turn, don't chain or anything, just turn, and then work the second row exactly how I did here. I did 3 slip stitches, 1 on top of the first, the second on top of the second double crochet, and the third into the chain 2 space. Then I did 3 chains and then 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets, and then continue with the second row. You can always rewind the video so that you can see this part, but we're going to do this part exactly in the same way how I did this first leg. So continue, finish the second leg, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. I finished making the second leg. Now here at the end, I just cut my yarn and passed my yarn through that last loop. Now both legs are done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work the middle here. So we're going to start here. This is the first leg that we did. So we're going to go right here into the 5th row. This is the row of front post and back post half double crochets that we did. Here we have this chain 2 space. So right there, insert your hook. This is the back side, by the way. So we're going to go here to the right side. Now grab a loop here, bring it through. I'm using the pink yarn here. Now chain 1. Into this chain 2 space here, make 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Into the next row, make 1. Now into the next row, which is the row where we did half double crochets, make 1. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the row of fans, here at the end we have a double crochet, make 2. Into the next row of fans, make 2. And now we have the last row that we did before we divided the legs. So row 16. So into this row here, we have these 2 double crochets. So right there, make a single crochet on top of these 2. And then we have the fan that we left here in the middle. So into each one of these double crochets, make a single crochet. So that's 1 and 2. Into the chain 2 space, make 1, and into the next 2 double crochets of this fan, make a single crochet. So here I have 5 single crochets for the center. Now we have these 2 double crochets, make a single crochet into these 2 here, and then we have the rows here of the second leg. We have the first row of fans, make 2 single crochets here. Into the next, make 2, and then we have the row of half double crochets, make 1, and then the rows of front post and back post half double crochets, make 1 there, and 2 here at the end, because that's what we did at the beginning. We did 2. Now let me count these stitches. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25 single crochets for this first row of the crutch. Now if you have 2 or 3 stitches less or more, it's okay. The important thing is that when you do this other side, you have the same number of stitches. So here, to continue with the second row, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now I'm going to make here a total of 8 single crochets. So I'm going to work my way down. So make 1 into the first one. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now into the next stitch, make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now for the center here, I'm going to work 7 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Into the next, make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now here we should be left with 8. So make 1 single crochet into each one. That's 1 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for this row, you should have 27 single crochets. We have 8, then 2, 7 for the center, 2, and then 8 here. So that's a total of 27 single crochets. Now for the third row, chain 1, turn. Now in this third row, I'm going to make 9 single crochets. 1, 9 into the next stitch, make a single crochet increase, so make 2 single crochets. Now for the stitches here in the middle, I'm going to make 7 single crochets. That's 1, 7 into the next stitch, make a single crochet increase, and here you should be left with 9 single crochets. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Make 1 single crochet into each one of these 9 stitches. Nine. There. So at the end of this third row, you should have a total of 29 stitches. Now for the fourth row, chain 1 and turn. Now in this fourth row, I'm going to make 10 single crochets. So beginning on top of the first one, make 1, 10. Now into the next, make a single crochet increase, and then for the stitches here in the middle, make 7 single crochets. So that's 1, 7 into the next stitch, make a single crochet increase, so make 2 single crochets, and here we should be left with 10 single crochets. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Make 1 single crochet into each one. That's 1, 10 single crochets. So for this fourth row, we did 10, 2, 7, 2, 10. At the end of this fourth row, you should have 31 single crochets. Now chain 1, turn for the fifth row. In this fifth row, we're not going to increase anymore. I'm just going to work 1 single crochet so that at the end of this fifth row, we have 31 single crochets. Continue, finish this fifth row. I'll meet you at the end. I finished making this fifth row. At the end of this row, I had 31 stitches. Here at the end, I did my last single crochet, cut my yarn and passed my yarn through that last loop, and this part here is done. And this is how it looks. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing here on this side, and we're going to add our buttonholes. If you're using buttons, this is where you're going to attach your buttons, and here's where we're going to make our buttonholes. So to do this here, we're going to do it exactly in the same way as I showed you this side, plus buttonholes that we're going to add in the third row. So to begin, this is the front. So we're going to go here to the right side, and right here at the end of this last row here for the leg, I'm going to grab a loop here, bring it through, chain 1. Now in this first row here, I'm going to make 2 single crochets. In the next row, I'm going to make 1. In the next row, which is the row of half double crochets, make 1 as well. Now we have the 2 rows here of fans. We're going to make 2 single crochets here at the end, and 2. Now we have this center fan. This is the last row, so right here we have these 2 double crochets, so make a single crochet right on top. Then we have the fan here in the center. Here we're going to make 5 single crochets, so 1 stitch for each double crochet, and 1 into the chain 1 space, or chain 2 space there. So here we have 5 single crochets. Then we have this last fan, make 1 single crochet here, on each one of the double crochets. And then again, we have the row of fans. Make 2, 1 in the row of half double crochets, and then 1 here in this row of front post stitches, and then 2 here at the end. This is exactly how we did this side here. Now here you should have 25 single crochets. I have 25. Now for the second row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now for the second row, we're going to make 8 single crochets. That's 1 on top of the first one, 8 single crochets. Now into the next, make 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Now for the center here, we're going to make 7 single crochets. 1, 7 single crochets into the next, 2 single crochets, and here we should be left with 8. So that's 1, 8. Perfect. Here's the second row. At the end of the second row, you should have 27 single crochets. Now for the third row, chain 1 and turn. Now in this third row, which is the middle row here, since we do 5 rows, we're going to add our buttonholes, and this is how we're going to add them. I'm only going to show you 3 buttonholes. I'm going to add 1 here, 1 in the center, and 1 here at this other end. So here, to begin, we're going to make a single crochet on top of the first one. Now chain 1, skip the next single crochet, and into the third single crochet, make a single crochet. Now make sure that this space that was made with the chain 1 here is big enough for the buttons that you're going to use. If you need to add more chains, like maybe 2 chains, then that's fine, but make sure that you treat this as 1 stitch in the next row. Now I'm going to make a total of 7 single crochets here. I already have 1. So into the next, make a single crochet. That's 2, 7 single crochets. Now we're going to make an increase into the next, so make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now here for the center, I'm going to make 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, skip 1 single crochet, and into the next a single crochet. Here's the second buttonhole. Now here I'm going to make a total of 3. That's 1, 2, 3. Now into the next, make a single crochet increase. So that's 2 single crochets there. Now here we should be left with 9 stitches. I'm going to make 7 single crochets. That's 1, 7. Now chain 1, skip 1 single crochet, and into the last single crochet, make a single crochet. So here's the third buttonhole. Now at the end of this third row, you should have 29 stitches. This is where we did 3 buttonholes, 1, 2, 3. Now for the fourth row, chain 1 and turn. Now in this fourth row here, I'm going to make 10 single crochets. 1, 10. Now into the next, make a single crochet increase, so make 2 single crochets. For the center part, we're going to make 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a chain space. 5, 6, 7. Into the next, a single crochet increase. So make 2 single crochets, and here we're going to make 10 single crochets. That's 1, 9. Here's the chain space, and 10. And here's the fourth row. At the end of this fourth row, you should have 31 stitches. Now for the fifth row, chain 1 and turn. In this fifth row, we're not going to increase anymore, just make 1 single crochet for for each single crochet from the previous row, so that at the end of this 5th row we have 31 single crochets as well. "31." And here you're just going to cut your yarn and pass your yarn through that last loop, and this part here is done. Let's see how it looks. That's how it should look. One buttonhole here, one button in the middle, and one here on this other side. So 3 buttons. Now what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to be using snap buttons. So this is the kit that I'm going to be using. There's instructions in there already. This one here I purchased a long time ago. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the information box of the same one, if not something similar, if you're interested. I purchased this from Amazon, and there's tons of videos on YouTube that you can watch that shows you how to attach the button. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to unravel up to the 3rd row, and I'm just going to make it exactly in the same way how I did this side without any buttonhole spaces. So that's what I'm going to do for mine. In the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you a link of that kit that I purchased from Amazon if you're interested. But I also showed you how to do it with buttonholes, so you can use buttons if you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks with my snap buttons, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to do the back side. I finished attaching my snap buttons here for the crotch area, and this is how it looks. Now we're going to close them. I added 4. There, perfect. And this is how it looks. Like I said, in the information box, I'll go ahead and leave a link to that kit that I used or something similar. You can always find instructions on YouTube on how to attach them, and basically all I did was just attach it here in the 3rd row on this side and in the 3rd row here at the bottom, and that's how it looks. If you prefer, you can add buttons. I showed you how to make the buttonholes as well. So this part here is done, and that's how it looks. So now we're going to go here to the back side, and we're going to start here right in the center, right where we have the fan that we added in the center when we started the body. So right there, insert your hook. I'm going to use this pink yarn, and what I'm going to do here is make single crochets along this side, and here at the end I'm going to add a buttonhole so that we can close this part like this. So here, chain 1, and right into this same stitch here, make a single crochet like this. Now, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. You can have less or more stitches. Once I get up here, I'll tell you how many stitches I have. So here, I'm going to go through this last stitch for the fan here at the end, right there. Insert your hook there and insert your hook through the fan row here. That way this part of the yoke is not flopping around. So just make a single crochet there and another one. So make 2 single crochets here. Now go at the end of the row and make 1 more. So far I have 4. Into the next, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have 12 single crochets. I think that looks pretty good. If you have 1 or 2 stitches less or more, it's okay. The important thing is that this part here is nice and straight. Now this is where I'm going to add my buttonhole, but first, chain 2. I'm going to skip the row of single crochets and into the row of chains, make a single crochet. Perfect. There's that buttonhole. So 2 chains. Continue watching. I will let you know what size buttons I'm going to use. So I chained 2 here. You can also chain 1, that would be up to you, and you can even add more buttonholes. I'm only going to add 1. This opening here is not too big. So now we're going to continue along the neckline, and to do the neckline, this is what we're going to do. We're going to chain 3, skip this next chain stitch and into the next, make a slip stitch. Chain 3, skip this chain stitch and into the next, make a slip stitch. Chain 3, skip the next chain stitch and into the next a slip stitch. And this is how we're going to continue all around. Chain 3, skip 1 stitch and into the next a slip stitch. I will meet you here at this other end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at this other end of the neckline. Now up to here I have my last 3 chains. I have a total of 26 of these chain 3 spaces. Now here at the end I'm going to skip the next stitch, and into this last stitch here at the very end I'm going to make a single crochet. Now I'm going to continue along this other side of the yoke and I'm going to make single crochet. So I have 1 into the next row, that's 2, 9, and here I'm going to go through both of these rows, 10, 11, 12. Now to finish, join to the first single crochet and make a slip stitch. Cut your yarn, pass your yarn through this last loop, and let's see how this looks. Yep, I think that looks pretty good. Now all I need to do is just add my button, and here's the buttonhole. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to come back and show you the finished romper, and I'll also give you the finished measurements. Okay, I added my button here in the back. Now this button that I'm using here, I'm only using 1. This is a 13mm size. Now if you chain 1 here instead of 2, you can use smaller size buttons like 10, 11, or even 12mm size. I'm using a 13mm size because I chained 2. And this is how it looks here for the back side. Here's the bottom. This little romper is all done, and here's the front. Now here for the front you can add a little bow if you like. All I did was just sew this little flower here. These are pre-made. I purchased these from Joann's, but I've also seen them at Michael's. So the little romper is all done. Here's the bottom. This is how it looks. I showed you how to add buttonholes if you want to use buttonholes, but I used 4 snap buttons. And here's the bottom. So this little romper is all done. So now let me give you the finished measurements. The total length from the top here of the shoulder to the end of the last row here of the leg, it's measuring about 36 centimeters, which is about 14.25 inches. Now the leg, the length of the leg from the middle here up to here, it's measuring about 5.5 centimeters, which is about 2.25 inches. Now the width of the leg from here to here, just the top, it's measuring about 12.5 centimeters, which is about 5 inches. Now this measurement right across from here to here, it's measuring about 10.5 centimeters, which is about 4.25 inches. And the chest measurement, just the top, it's measuring about 24 centimeters, which is about 9.5 inches. So based on these measurements, this little romper is for baby girls between 3 and 6 months old. Now you can easily make it smaller or bigger. In the information box below, I'll go ahead and leave you some information on how you can easily make it smaller or bigger, so be sure to check that out. And as always, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box below. Thank you so much for your support. Now comment below and let me know if you want me to make the matching baby booties or maybe a little bonnet for this little romper. I'll see what I can do. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.